Oh, I'm so silly. Oh, I'm so silly. Hi, everyone. Spaghetti Freddy here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Spoon album, Lucifer, on the sofa. One of the most consistent and no bullshit bands are back. Spoon. Going strong for almost 30 years at this point. This is Spoon's 10th LP. And what's on the schedule this time around? Why, it's rock, of course. It's been 5 years since the band's last full-length LP, Hot Thoughts, where they subtly incorporated some experimental and dance elements into their very indie rock style. And by comparison, I found Lucifer on the Sofa to be a lot more moody and old school, with a lot of notes of hard rock and blues rock on this LP, to the point where I think Spoon is flirting with a bit of a Rolling Stones here and there, maybe some ZZ Top. Take, for example, the slick motorcycle bar riffs and grooves on The Hardest Cut, or the grand anthemic piano-backed choruses on Wild. The opening cut, Held, is a semi-psychedelic piece of blues rock with these huge washes of guitar. It's actually a Bill Callahan cover that Spoon mostly does justice, sticking to the original blueprint of the song very closely and mapping their instrumentation over onto what Bill and his band offered cleanly. But I still think I enjoy Bill's original version a lot more. You can't really beat the man's authoritative baritone, especially when it comes to this more spoken word vocal style. Overall, the sounds on this LP are more tried and true than they are new, but Spoon feeds them to us in a way that serves as a reminder of what made them so good in the first place, either on Spoon's past records or in rock music as a whole. Especially when you pair these elements with tight playing, good songwriting, raw production, a frontman as charismatic as Britt Daniel, who still shouts and howls on these songs like he's got bills to pay. For as long as I could remember, Spoon has very much been defined by a back-to-basics ethos, and that takes on different forms given what track we're listening to. The Devil and Mr. Jones, for example, is just drenched in these 90s singer-songwriter pop rock tropes that would have ruled the radio back then. But still to this day, they're pulled off with an urgency that prevents them on this recording from sounding super nostalgic or dated. There are some other cuts here that sound as if they could have landed on a Spoon album from the mid-2000s, but maybe now with punchier songcraft and more harmonious instrumentation. The track Feels Alright, for example, which isn't exactly I Turned My Camera On, but the badass piano and guitar riff snapped in with that crispy-ass drum beat is classic Spoon to its core. The song On the Radio too, which is also a perfect example of rock not needing to be complicated to be good. A good tune, driving rhythm section, expressive lead singer, and a strong burst of keys on the chorus is kind of all you need. Plus Britt's narrative allusions to being attached to something as classic as like the radio format as a kid in his lyrics is cute. Now, there are some low points on the record in my opinion. They are more often the mellow cuts. Of course, I don't want the band to write a one-dimensional record where every song sounds the same. I appreciate that they're trying to change things up, like on My Babe or Astral Jacket. But with these tracks, Spoon really fails to bring a memorable or moving ballad along with the toning down of the intensity. The latter of these two tracks just kind of sounds like a corny, idyllic acoustic cut that would gently play over the loudspeakers at a coffee shop. However, the song Satellite does reach a point of grandiosity and lushness that is kind of refreshing to hear Spoon approach, and the title track is a very nuanced and relaxed jam loaded with easygoing drums and soft electric piano keys, dreamy vocal effects, and spoken word from Britt as well. It's a sensation that you really want to get lost in, a bit of a sonic dream state in a way. I think mood-wise and aesthetically it's a good note to drift off on this LP. It's almost a to-be-continued moment for the band, especially with Britt singing about these lingering remnants and memories of someone or something that he's lost. But yeah, I mean, overall this was another very solid album from Spoon where more or less the band met expectations, put out some good songs, put out a couple of snoozers too. With Spoon, it's always direct, it's always to the point, it's always a bit of a mix, but there's usually a lot more good than bad. And that's what we're still getting. So yeah, Spoon. Feeling a decent 7 on this one. Transition, have you given this record a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head, it's another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Spoon forever.